investment properties.
Awesome. Is that Cody? Let me see. It's Cody. Hey, Cody. Yeah, absolutely. So, so hopefully in this presentation, I can kind of teach you how to, own investment property and, kind of hack your way to, to like own a house, own a cash flowing property, if you will. And this is actually how I start real estate, actually, not to buy and sell. I get my license not to buy and sell for the people, but my first and foremost goal when I get my license is that, hey, I need to go buy myself a house first. Good morning. Yeah, so Amanda, I think with this, we can start at the top of the hour.
Perfect. All right, everyone. Just so you're live streaming this to our group. And then I'll share this link. Awesome. So we'll let Hui present. Like he said, when I met him, he had his license, but it was strictly just for his own personal investment. So he's been investing in real estate longer than I have. So I'm excited to learn from him. And then afterwards, if we have time, we'll get to ask him some questions. So put them in the chat box. Thank you, Hui.
Well, thank you, Amanda, and for your leadership and your opportunity. Without your group, without your support, I don't think even any of us, would be here today. So I'm super excited, to number one, kind of make this presentation. As one of my icon requirements as an icon agent, I require, to give back to the community. And number two, I really want to offer this, to a presentation out to the agent outside of eXp Realty, right? Especially the one that just got your license. And looking for maybe buy a house, sell a house, but like I share my story with Cody, Amanda, not a lot of people, they get the license just to buy a house, right? Or just to sell a house for other people. Me, when I get my house, the first and foremost goal that I have is, I need to find myself a house first. So my name is Hui, and today I'm going to bring you the topic of house hacking. So let's start with the quote, right? You are your best client, right? Not, I think a lot of real estate agents, we have the mindset of, like, hey, I need to represent the seller. I need to represent the buyer. I need to back act, on my client best interest. Well, which is good. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with it, right? But remember, right, according to Tom Hopkins, right, the number one sales trainer in the world, first and foremost, you are your best client, right? So what is better than that to get your real estate license and then, serve yourself as your first and best client and go find yourself, like a home, your first home or your investment property, right? So with that say, what is house hacking, right? So to sum it up, house hacking is the art of buying and structuring the deal using what you already have, right? So no excuse, hey, he has a rich uncle or, he has a wife who do all kind of repair, so no excuse, right? This is the art of buying and structuring the deal using what you already have to achieve three main objectives, right? So objective number one, you have to buy with little or no money down, right? And number two, you have to have someone to pay for it, right? To pay for your mortgage or at least a portion of it, right? And that's why we call it house hacking. And number three, I think this is the most important point in house hacking. You need to have fun and you need to enjoy it, right? This is a lifestyle. So what is the fun of house hacking? If you, let's say, move in a roommate or like lease the home out on Airbnb and you don't even enjoy the process, right? So I think this is the most important. It has to fit your lifestyle. You have to have fun. You have to enjoy hosting people, dealing with tenants, and it's just a process. And if there's no fun in it, let's do something else, not real estate, right? So that is the three objectives that I am looking to achieve in this presentation. And the best analogy that I could give is, how do you get into the nightclub, right? So there's three types of people. I would say 99% of us, Amanda, Cody, everybody here, 99% of us, when we want to get into the nightclub and have fun, we wait at the door, right? We wait for people to let us in. We pay the mark price, we pay the entrance price, and that's it, right? You come in and just like anybody, the 99% of us, right? We just walk to the main door. Let me correct myself. 98% of us, right? We pay the price and we get in. There's 1%, right? Which is a billionaire, you know, the multi-millionaire, right? They have this private entrance. They just walk in, like nobody stop them. Everybody know who they are. They just walk in, they buy whatever they want, right? So they're in the millionaire and the billionaire cup, right? And then the other 1%, you know, I would say that is a person, it's like you and me, right? You know, instead of paying the ticket price, we're going to try the kitchen door. You know, we're going to try to ask somebody for a favor. You know, we're going to try to see if the back door is open. We do all that we can in order to get into the club, you know, without paying any price, right? I'm smiling because I'm thinking of Cindy when I talk about it. So Cindy, it just, you know, I if you know Cindy in the group, you know, I would say, you know, like when you travel with Cindy, you will know that I'm talking about, right? Nothing is possible, right? Nothing is impossible with Cindy. She will find a way to get get you into the room. It doesn't matter what is the ticket price. There's always, you know, a way for you to get in without, you know, waiting in line or just like anybody else. So keep that mindset, right? So keep that mindset in house hacking. You know, this is what are you looking into, right? When you look at the MOS, you know, everybody's looking at the same thing, right? But you as a 1%, you need to looking for something different, right? Which is what I'm going to show today, right? For example, does a house have a garage apartment? Is there an HOA? Is there any possibility for, you know, for improvement, you know, to kind of hack it, if you will. So that is the 1% that we talk about. And then after you get into the nightclub, what do, right? Most people, they're going to pay for their own drink. But for you, you know, you're going to have somebody to pay for your ring, right? I know for the lady, it's easy. for the man, you know, it's harder, but there's always a way for us, right? So think of that from that mentality, right? You know, you get into the door, you bought a house, and then you're going to have somebody else pay for your mortgage. You get into the nightclub, for little or no money down, and then you're gonna have somebody else to pay for your ring, right? So that is a mindset that I want you from now on, you know, to carry for the rest of your career, right? So don't look at the real estate market like a consumer. Look at it from a wholesaler perspective. Look at it from an investor perspective. Look at it from a flipper perspective, right? What can I do, you know, to make money, to create wealth for my family, instead of just come in, you know, pay a bunch of money and then wait, you pay on the top of the market, and then the housing market crash, and then you complain why your real estate investment doesn't work. That is because you look at the real estate market like a consumer, right? So stop looking at the house like a consumer. Start thinking and acting like an investor, a flipper, a wholesaler, right? Only then you will learn how to get into the nightclub, right? The 1% of us. So anyway, so I think that's enough of the mindset. Let's just jump right into it, right? First objective, number one, buy with little or no money down, right? So this is very simple. FHA loan, right? So if you are a first-time home buyer, you know, you might be qualified for a 3%, you know, or even lower payment from the FHA program. I won't have the time to go into FHA loan here. I think this is pretty basic. Everybody can Google it. You know, there's a ton of information on FHA loan program. But just remember that, you know, this is mostly a one-time, you can only kind of use this 1 time or 2 times, right? So kind of choose wisely on the house that have the potential for you, you know, to either later on lease it out, either long-term or short-term, or maybe put a little house on the back, or maybe improve the square footage, make it bigger. You have this one chance, you know, to take advantage of the FHA loan. So kind of use it wisely, right? VA loan is even better. I don't know if Tin is going to be in here, but man, Tin, if you're in here, I'm going to bring you on later. He is just, you know, number one, thank you so much for serving our you know, for serving our country, right? But he take full advantage of his VA loan to be able to buy a house with 0% down payment. You know, I'm sure, you know, the fee is going to be higher, the interest rate is going to be higher. Hey, but do it anyway, right? It doesn't hurt when you buy a house with 0% down, especially when I kind of show you later on, you know, you can kind of stack all this thing up, you know, to even get, you know, your money back at closing. So if you have VA loan, you know, fully take advantage of it, right? And then kind of look at it, you know, not from the single family point perspective, you know, but from the duplex, the triplex, and the fourplex as well, right? Because remember, FHA loan, VA loan, they get to put on a 1 to 4 single family contract, right? So if you're on the 1 to 4 single family contract, you know, why not buy a fourplex, right? Leave on one side, lease out all the other, right? Why not do that instead of buying just a single family house? So kind of keep that in mind, you know, VA loan, FHA loan, duplex, triplex, and fourplex is just a perfect, a perfect way for you to kind of get into the game and kind of, start to house hack and, create some income, and, you get to live in there for free as well, right? I put this one up because not a lot of people, they pay attention to, the single family house on one lot. I am in Houston. There's not a lot of things like this anymore, but they're still there. If you kind of take a look at it, maybe if you're in another state, watching the recording later on, kind of look at your jurisdiction and see, if there's anything from this, right? This is actually a real example. I actually own this triplex before, and it's not a triplex. It's a 3 single family house, right? In the really, really good neighborhood. And I get to buy it under one tax record, right? So it's one loan, one down payment, in this example, in this scenario, I kind of leased out the whole 3 houses. But for you, it could be that, hey, you decided to live in the middle house, the house on the left, and then you lease out the other 2, right? And then the income from the other 2 houses is going to be more than enough, to cover your mortgage. So kind of keep this in mind. Not a lot of people, they pay attention to it. They look at duplex, triplex, fourplex, but nobody pay attention to, 1 houses, 3 houses, 4 houses, on the same tax record, right? So you can just write one contract and you can buy it all. From the lender perspective, it's 1 house, right? So super, super powerful. Kind of open up your mind and look at that stuff, right? And then, take advantage of the credit, right? Back then when, all the craziness is happening, there's no such thing as seller credit. You have to overpay, basically you have to overpay the market to get the house. But now, oh my God, like, I know that in my own flip, I have to give out, like $6,000-7,000 for the seller credit, in order for me to close on the house. So whenever you submit in an offer for yourself or your client, hey, ask for seller credit, right? In the market right now that we're in, seller is giving out credit to help close the deal, right? So take full advantage of that. Ask for seller credit, ask for, home warranty, there's so much thing you can ask for, and the seller, they're going to bend over to give it to you to close the deal. So kind of take advantage of it. I'm not a new construction expert, but my team does, my group does. And, from what I understand, the builder right now is giving out so much credit right now, right? You're talking about like, 6-digit, incentive, credit, $50,000 here, $60,000 there, you can use it in upgrade, you can use it, as credit at closing, right? So new build is giving out massive credit for buyer. So kind of take advantage of that, for you and for your client. And this is my favorite, right? Use your commission, guys. Remember, we get paid a commission. And as a realtor, all those, we don't recommend it, but if you're going to do the deal for yourself, hey, give the buyer, which is you, the credit back, right? And the cool thing about this, when you give yourself back your commission, it's income tax free, right? So remember that word. When you give yourself back, it's no longer taxable, right? So that income become a credit. So it's income tax free, which is going to save you like 20-30% already, like on top of everything. So use the commission as a buyer credit when you buy a house. And like I say, some builder right now, they are paying up to like a freaking 6% for realtor commission. You know how much that is on a $500,000 house? That's a whole lot, right? So I remember I just talked with, Joanna, one of my team member before, and, Joanna basically asked me like, hey, Huy, I save up some money, I want to buy a house, do you have any suggestion for me? So my first suggestion for Joanna is, Joanna, you need to save all your money, put it in the CD right now or in the bank, right? They're paying like 3-4% interest right now. Save all of your money, right? Don't even spend a dime to show you the money, right? You are with me. Let me show you how to house hack your house, right? By using the builder credit and by giving, using your 6% commission or, sometimes 3-4% as a realtor. Trust me, y'all, use your license. You can almost get the house for free, right? So save your money. Online bank is paying like freaking 3-4% right now. Save your money, let it grow. Don't use a damn, and use whatever you have, not your money to, to buy the house at no cost, right? You get your license for a reason, use it. Anyway, so this, I would say this is the granddaddy of all, the BRRRR method, and if you can learn this, man, it's your whole world is going to open with possibility, right? You get kind of ascended to the next level. So BRRRR, in a very short definition, it's a process of buying a home using first, you have to use other people money, or you can use your own money as well. But in this example, let's say that, hey, I'm gonna borrow mom, $200,000 or somebody. You're gonna buy the home using other people money, you're gonna repair it, you're gonna refinance it, and you're gonna rent it out. Or, in this case that, you're gonna move in, and then you're gonna rent it out, right? Now, so let's say, on the example on the left is a house that we purchased last year. We bought it for $155,000. We put $10,000 of repair into it, and the ARV is $231,000. Right. So if you do your calculation, 75% of the ARV, the lender is going to let you take out. So after everything's said and done, you only put into the house, $11,000 invested into the house. So we don't have the detail to go depth into the BRRRR method today. It's a whole training by itself. If you have access to eXp University, you should definitely go to workplace. There's a training I did on it. There's a training other instructor did on it. There's a lot of material even online. If you just Google the BRRRR method, there's a bunch of material online, within eXp, within our group that specifically talk about the BRRRR, right? So this is kind of the granddaddy of all the method. If you can learn this, everything else doesn't matter. So thing to watch out for, right? It sounds easy, but there's actually a lot of stuff that you need to watch out for. So number one, I would say this is my personal pet peeve, my personal mistake. Kind of watch your monthly payment and don't get too greedy. It's never, good to have negative cash flow, right? So if you have a choice to receive money at closing or have a positive cash flow real estate, please select, hey, I'm going to have a positive cash flow real estate. It's okay to leave a little money into the house. So watch your monthly payment. Never let your payment go above your rent. The moment you do that, the whole thing is going to become a money pit, and then you keep throwing money into your investment, right? And the interest is going to eat you up. So kind of watch out for it. Don't get too greedy. So anyway, so that, and then, local regulation might prevent leasing out, especially when it comes to short-term rental, when it's come to, like bring on a roommate. So kind of watch out for local regulation, HOA, the city, do they let you, have do they let you have long-term rental, short-term rental? If not short-term, and then how many days is considered short-term or mid-term? So all of that legal and local regulation, you have to do some homework before you decide, like, hey, I'm gonna house hack this now. Is it even legal to do, to lease it out or to put a tiny house in the back? So kind of watch it out, on stuff like that, because real estate, when you make a mistake, it's kind of costly for you to fix it. So don't, if you can make maybe mistake, but don't make a big one, right? So this is another pet peeve of mine. In the beginning, you might not have money and you try to pull a lot of capital in as possible. It's never a good idea to have too many partners in a smaller deal. So, the pie, of course you want to share your cake, but the cake needs to be big enough for everybody to eat. If you have just a small cake, hey, I have this one single family house and you have like 5 partners in it and everybody cash flow like $20 a month. Yes, it's cash flow positive, but you're gonna do the work of $1 million house. What I'm trying to say that the work that you put in for a $10 million deal and a $100,000 house is the same thing, right? So if the deal is too small, try to find a way for you to borrow money and do the deal yourself, right? Instead of pull in equity partner. When you pull in equity partner, too many people in a small deal, trust me, it's never going to work and it's going to get really ugly. So kind of take it, kind of watch out for that, right? And of course, have a great credit, right? If you don't have great credit, start working on it. Great credit is going to allow you, to have the best possible loan product right there, out there on the market. And, it's going to reduce your payment so much, and it's going to reduce, it's allow the lender to work with you a lot better, to give you more credit, to give you a lower rate because you're a good borrower. So have a great credit is one of the must for the house hack, right? If you don't have great credit, it's very hard to hack any house. So, number one, work on that first. And a stable job, right? In the beginning, you might not have your real estate career, kind of kickstart yet. Having a stable job is not too bad after all, guys. I know we are teaching people to get out the rat race, to quit your job and stuff like that. But there's nothing wrong with doing real estate part-time in your first few years in real estate, right? I have my license. And it's not until like, I would say 5-6 years later that I decide to, quit my job at Schlumberger and go to real estate full time. But during that 5 time that, I work for Schlumberger, Hewlett Packard, I maxed out my benefit, right? I have a stable W-2 from a blue chip company, they pay me good income. I just use it up, to buy rental house, right? The lender love me because I have a W-2. So if you have your W-2, before you quit it, get a couple of houses down under your belt, hack a couple of houses before you call it quit, because after you quit, you're going to be on a 1099 income. It's going to be more difficult for the lender to qualify you for a house, right? It's not possible, but, W-2 is always a prefer, right? It's just how the world works. There's nothing right and wrong with it. So this is my favorite, right? So this is the art of putting it all together, right? You're going to stack all the stuff that I talk about, to you, you're going to stack it all together, right? Instead of doing each by one, you're going to stack everything together. So this is where the rubber meet the road. This is where you're going to stack everything together. You can leverage any of the combination that I have been talking to you for the last 20 minutes. So what happened if you can buy a brand new house, have a builder pay you 6% in commission because right now they're desperate to let it go? What happened if you can even leverage your FHA or VA loan to take advantage of the 3%, down payment, or even 0% for VA loan? And then you're going to even ask them for the seller and the builder credit instead of the price reduction, right? And then you receive money at closing, right? So the statement, the picture on the left here, I did not make it up. It's not for me, but it's one of the people in my team. He basically, do the stacking, leverage, his VA loan, leverage the commission, leverage the builder credit. And at the end of the day, his payment is $2,100. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong later, Tim, I think the house, they get leased out for $2,200. So you actually cash flow positive. And the lender, the builder, they actually give you back, $1,500 at closing for buying the house. I mean, like, can you believe it? Hey, thank you for buying my house. Here's some money back at closing, right? So this is the power of stacking, right? So kind of use your creativity, use your situation, take full advantage of what you already have, right? And again, right, keep, open up your mind into possibility. Don't look at things from a consumer, right? How can I get the house for free, right? And if you keep thinking about it, it's going to happen. And this is just a closing statement of one of my agents. Anyway, so moving on to number 2, right? You get the house for free, but now you have to figure out, who's going to pay for it, right? You get into the nightclub already. It doesn't cost you any cover fee. Who is going to pay for your rent? Who is going to pay for your mortgage, right? Number 1, super easy. Get a roommate, right? So if you're single, if you just got out of school, take advantage of your flexibility, right? You live in a dorm before. Hey, you have 3 roommates. What's wrong with it? Having roommate now, but except now instead of paying for the school, they pay for you, right? So just have a roommate. Take advantage of your flexibility. Kind of pay attention to the home layout when you're going for this route, because if you have all the room kind of clumps together, it's kind of hard for a roommate, but all the room is spread out in the house like a dorm, and it's perfectly fine, right? So kind of look for the layout, to kind of work with this, the strategy. The more bedroom, the better, right? The more square footage, the better, right? The more square footage is going to lease out for more money, right? You can have 1 roommate, or you can have multiple roommates, right? And home that would work best for multiple roommate is home that close to school and university, right? There's always kids, in college that coming from out of the country, from out of state. They would love to pay for your room instead of their overpriced dorm, right? So if you can, try to find a house that easy access to college and university, and then you will not have any problem finding roommate. So college student, pick a roommate that travel frequently. To be honest, if you don't want to see them, just ask them, hey, what do you do? Oh, I'm a travel nurse. Perfect. Come on in, right? So pick a roommate that's travel frequently. Watch out for parking regulation. If you have too many car parked at on your house, and then your neighbor might complain. They thought that you might run some shady business there. So kind of watch out for the parking regulation in your area. And as I mentioned, this is your lifestyle, right? So you have to enjoy it. Your family status as well. So do something that you enjoy, don't house hack it, and then you end up hating your life for it. So just as an example, one of my clients, she actually, successfully using the strategy she bought a room near Clear Lake. So I don't know if y'all in Houston, y'all probably know about Clear Lake. It's very close to U of H Victoria, which hosts a lot of international students, right? And she herself is an international student before. So she actually doesn't mind hosting, people coming from Vietnam that study at the school, right? So, she got a house, under $200,000 with 4 rooms. She rent 3 rooms out. The total of the 3 rooms is $1,450, and her mortgage only $1,200. She stay in 1 room, and she cash flow on her own house that she live in there $250, right? So, kind of leverage strategy and open up your mind to having a roommate. And then the second one is is to lease out just 1 room on Airbnb, right, or on VRBO, whatever you want to call it. But I kind of like this philosophy of Airbnb, right? Airbnb stands for air bed and breakfast, right? I know right now it's kind of get commercialized, but if you just get back to the core of Airbnb, air bed and breakfast, is you open up your house, your room, to a stranger that might need a place to stay, and they decide to stay at your place because it's feel warm, it's feel welcoming. So kind of think about this from the philosophy of Airbnb, right? And this is the easiest way to start. This is how I start. I did not start, buying out, tiny house and having like 5, 6 Airbnb right away. I start by just leasing out. I have a 3-bedroom. It's just me and my wife staying in there. I just start out by leasing the 1 room out my house for $30, right? I lease it out for $30. I make about $300-400 a month. It's kind of pay for all my utility, right? And I kind of enjoy hosting people, and that's where you really learn the basic of hospitality, like how to treat people, how to welcome people, how to make them feel comfortable in your house. Trust me, the guests when they come to your house, they are more freaked out than you are, right? So kind of use use that to learn your role, your trick of the trade when it comes to short-term rental, if you will. So, and then or you can read, and then if you don't have any room, and then in your own house right now, if you already have a house, you need to start thinking about how to remodel for additional square footage, right? So I know I can't see everybody here, but if you can just repeat after me: more square footage, more money, right? That's it. More square footage, more money. More square footage, more money. That's all you need to know when it comes to real estate. The more square footage you have, the more leasable area that you have, the more money that you're gonna make. So we have a house that we decide, instead of just having the attic empty, is high enough so that we can convert the attic into a living space, right? So we I leave the room up there. I leave the link up there. You can go ahead and click on the link. It's we call this the hidden attic. So instead of having the empty attic collecting dust and junk, we turn it into a livable space with bathroom, and we lease it out, for $60 a day. It average about $12,000, $1,200 a month, right? So kind of calculate the blended return to see if the investment is worth it. So in this example, I spend about $30,000. I add another 500 square feet in my house, and I cash flow, and then from the $30,000, I bring in an additional $1,200 a month, right? So anybody, you don't even need to pull up your calculator to know that this is a really good return. So kind of think about your house, your current situation right now, and see if there's any place that you can improve, add more square footage, to make it cool, to make it warm and welcoming for the guests to come and pay you rent, right? And then this is another strategy that I love. It's called trading up, right? So you buy, and then you live there, you lease, and then you move. So we talk about a buy already. You buy where you want to live using all the method that we discussed in number 1. You have to make sure that the number, they have to pencil out for positive cash flow, right? Because if the number doesn't pencil out for positive cash flow, and then you cannot lease it out and move, right? I think this is a lot of people with a consumer mindset. They kind of buy with emotion. They never think about like, hey, what happened if 5, 10 years later or 2 years later, if I need to get out of the house, what is my option, right? If you buy too high, and then your cash flow negative on the rent, you have no option is to sell it, right? So kind of put this mindset away and put on an investor mindset when you buy a house for yourself, right? Hey, I'm gonna buy. Number 1, I need to love the house, but number 2, I need to make sure the number pencil out, just in case like 2 years later I need to move. I get a girlfriend. I get married. If 2 years later I need to move, can I keep this house instead of selling it? most people, they never think about this when they buy, right? All they think about, hey, this is my forever home. I'm gonna live in it forever, right? No, you're not gonna live your home forever, right? So kind of think about this, get out of the consumer's mindset and put on the investor mindset, right? Whenever you buy, that thing needs to positive cash flow when you lease it out. And then you live there, right? We call this a seasoning period. You live there for like a year, 2 years, 6 months, who cares, right? Live there, enjoy the home. And then whenever you see a house, another house that you like, you're gonna buy, and then you're gonna buy a reasonable house to move up, and you're gonna lease the old one, right? And Tin, if you're here, I would like you to come and kind of share your story. I don't do this, but I know this is what you do for pretty much when you get your license.
Hey,
Tin,
I'm on. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead, share with us your story.
Hey, Hui. So, hey, everybody. My name is Tin. I met Hui back in high school, man. When I first came to America from Vietnam, me and Hui, we went to high school together, went to college together. We also have our first job together as well. So there's a lot of history between us. Hey, Cody. Yeah, so then we actually got me into the real estate game, and I get to meet Amanda and Jeff, and they are super nice. They kind of own the club, and me and Hui were just, standing out at the door and trying to get in. So
Yeah.
Also, just want to share my story. Hui actually talked me into getting the real estate license at first. I wanted to get in just to buy and sell for myself, be my own customer. But a lot of people at my work, I'm actually in the United States Army, and a lot of people at my work, they always interested in buying and selling. So I've been helping out a lot of soldiers doing VA loans. So how about experiencing it? Talking about house hack. We brought up a lot of good points. For example, the buyer credit. When I bought my first or second deal here in San Antonio, he actually told me about the buyer credit, where Tony King, you write him an email and then he'll send back a little memo and he'll approve to put all 5% of your commission back into the house as a down payment.
Tax free, baby. Tax free.
Tax free. So it's kind of free money there. So that's a good strategy for house hack. And we also talk about the VA buyers, 0% down. You guys are probably familiar with this, but the VA loan is offered to the service member, the veterans and active duty soldiers, or airmen or Coast Guard, military in general. And they offer 0 down, but they also have a thing called VA funding fee. So if you want to find out how much the fee for your customer, you just Google it, VA funding fee. It take you to the Veteran Affairs website. And then we also touch on the 2 years. So I live in my house for 2 years, and I moved out with the intention of selling it to cash in the equity. But the market is kind of being funny right now, so we just rented it out. So we bought it for 0 down, and we're paying $1,500-ish, and we rent it out for $2,100.
Wow.
I just, the market has been blown up with the rental market here in San Antonio area.
Wow, talking about house hacking, that's it. Wow, so thank you, Tin. And then I guess after that, Tin kind of move on to his move up home, and and he gonna kind of keep doing it again and again, right? So Tin, thank you so much for sharing your story. Anything else you want to say?
No, you're welcome. Hey, if you guys have any questions, just hit me out on Facebook.
Sounds good. Okay, we'll make sure to leave Tin information here later on. So Tin is an expert. Not only he has an investment mindset, but also he takes full advantage of what he already have, right? Hey, I don't have a VA loan. He has a VA loan. He takes full advantage of it, right? So whatever you have in your hand, take full advantage of it, right? That is your unfair advantage. Yep. And then for me, I don't have a VA loan. So what do I do, right? I have a beat up shed on my backyard, that's storing junk. Hey, I can utilize my backyard, right? You can utilize your backyard, right? You can turn in your storage junk into cash cow. So the house on the left, I cannot help but put up this picture. It looks so beautiful when we have the freeze here last year. I know most of I know most of us, me included, we have like, like bad story when it comes to the freezing Texas, but this picture just put a smile on my face. I don't know why. It looked so cute when I look out my backyard with no power on my house. Anyway, so I was able, me and my wife, we were able to turn, just a backyard storage shed, into a tiny house, right? It cost us $30,000 for renovation. It ran down for $60 a day on Airbnb. So we make about $1,500 a month, right? And it pay for the mortgage for the big house, which is the house in front of it, right? The house that I stay in. I bought it way back then. It was really cheap. So my mortgage for the big house at the front of the tiny house is only $900. So, the tiny house, instead of storing like just junk stuff, now it's making money. I'm making money from my own backyard to pay for the big house, right? And of course, I'm going to come back to this point again. Check your local regulation. Maybe stuck with a garage apartment if you don't have any, background in construction, right? But kind of check the legality of this. I know Austin is a lot easier for us to do ADU instead of, Houston. So Houston right now is kind of, spotty. You have to check to see what area allow it, what area doesn't, right? And then I actually went back from a retreat, with a guy named Jeff, and I'm just gonna quickly share a story here. This is not how I does it, but I truly believe that what he's telling me the truth. So he live in Zilker Park, right? So for those that in Texas, Zilker Park is a very expensive area in Austin. Jeff have a house, and his lot is only about like 10,000 square feet, right? So it's not big, but it's big enough for him to divide it. Apparently, I need to double check this, but apparently City of Austin, they allow you to run a separate meter, right? So you can run a separate, electrical meter, you can run a separate, gas meter, and you can have the address, so let's say 123 Main Street A, 123 Main Street B. City of Austin allow you to do that. They allow you to build an additional dwelling unit, a big one, right? Almost like a house on your own backyard. So Jeff, what he told me on the real estate retreat, he built a house on his backyard, a big one. He whooping, he freaking sell it for $800,000. I did not make this shit up. He sold it for $800,000 on his backyard. It's about like a 1,200 square feet home. He sell it in Zilker Park for $800,000, right? And then, since they kind of retire and want to travel around, he Airbnb the front house whenever they have guests that would come in. He limit, he limit his minimum stay for 30 days. And whenever he has a guest that gonna come in and stay for a month, he charged them $7,000 to stay there for a month. He hop into his airstream and then he goes travel with his wife. I mean, who want Jeff lifestyle, right? I absolutely want that, and that's just house hacking right there, right? So a lot of us that we used to complain like, hey, where I live is too expensive, where I live is too cheap, all this kind of reason that you can do house hacking. Look at Jeff. He live in a freaking $1 million houses and he still house hacked this goddamn house, right? For $800,000 on the backyard, $7,000 on the month, and then travel with the airstream. So he loved travel and he make everything work, right? So kind of put the excuse out of the way when it comes to house hacking. When you truly become a house hacker, the sky's the limit, right? Whatever you want to do with it. Anyway, I do want to show up a little bit. This is our big profit tiny home portfolio, if you will. So you have the urban bond that you see. We will have the Wabi Shabi, and then most of I don't think anybody know about the fifth wheel yet. So this is our latest tiny house project, and it sits on the back of the main house, and it's paid for the main house, right? So the urban bond, is paid for my mortgage. The Wabi Shabi is paid for my mom mortgage. The fifth wheel is paid for my father-in-law. I pay for my father-in-law house, right? So whenever you have a family member who need a house, buy them a big house, put a tiny house on the back, and then have the tiny house pay for their mortgage. So anyway, this is just a little portfolio that you have. So if you want to check it out, send us, drop a message, send me a link, follow me on my blog at the cashflownotepad.com, follow me on Instagram, cashflow agent, and then I can send you a link, or I share a lot of stuff when it comes to this kind of stuff on social media. But yeah, kind of the sky is the limit, as you can see. Tiny home, big profit. And this is all about you, right? I know I'm doing presentation, and by the way, I don't think I introduced myself yet. My name is Nguyen, right? I'm a full-time icon agent in eXp. I'm leading, an organization. We call it a rep share organization of 240 agent and broker. Amanda is of course is our, we call her our mama bear, our leadership. Her organization has 1,000 people now, right? So I help just run 240 agent of it. So anyway, I'm a real estate investor. I'm a mentor. I flip over 50 homes with my partner. And the whole point in this presentation is that it's all about you, right? A lot of the stuff that I talk about, it sounds easy or it might not sound easy, but the point I want to wrap in is that, you need to hang out with the people that do it, right? Because one mistake in real estate, once you make a mistake, it's kind of expensive to repair the mistake. So the best way for you to learn and for me personally to learn is to get in the room, hang out with the right people, hang out with Grant Cardone, hang out with Robert Kiyosaki, hang out with me, hang out with Jeff, hang out with Amanda, hang out with our leader, hang out with our group. This is the best and the fastest way if you want to kind of hack your way to success. If there's ever a shortcut, I'm going to tell you that shortcut right now. That shortcut is just to hang out with the right people, right? I didn't get here by myself, right? I get help. I get help from Amanda. I get help from all the people on the Zoom. I get help. I reach out for us. I ask for help, right? I blow Amanda's phone up. I ask for help, and that's get me where I am today. So try to do this on your own. You absolutely can, but I would say my closing statement is that you need to get in the room with the people who already ahead of you, is willing to help, willing to learn, and willing to share what they have, right? If you don't get into the room, and good luck, man. Just your path is going to be hard, right? So get in the room. Thank you, guys. Let me see. It's 11:43. I do need to get off in about 20 minutes. I'm still in Tulum. I don't know if you can see my background. I'm gonna be back in Houston tomorrow, but yeah, we're gonna go out, see some cenote. It's kind of like a sinkhole with all the water around it. So we're gonna check out some cenote and I guess call it a day. So anyway, Amanda, any question from the audience? Anything?
You don't have any questions? How many of you are wishing you had a bigger backyard right now to stick with this little house in? Oh my gosh, my brain is just going wild. That's awesome. I love that every person in your family has a little accessory unit dwelling in their backyard that supports and pays for their mortgage.
I'm not gonna pay for anybody's mortgage, Amanda. I need to figure out a way to pay for their mortgage.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do any of y'all have questions? This is amazing.
Yeah, so y'all can follow me on on Instagram. My handle is a cash flow agent. I share a lot of real estate tip up there. I have a blog. Sometimes I just blog about stuff what's on my mind, mostly about real estate. So you can read my blog at the cash flow notepad, and kind of go from there, right? Like I say, just hang out with the right people, get into the right room, and just see yourself elevated to the next level.
This was amazing. Thank you, Hui. We do this every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central, same link. We want to bring value to the agents and just support everyone this year. Next week, my mom, funny enough, Susie, is teaching things I wish I knew my first year in real estate. She's now on year, I think, 14 or 15, but things that, we've learned throughout the years that are kind of consolidated within 1 hour. So we will let you enjoy Tulum. I'm so excited for you. Take lots of pictures and share with us.
Okay, yeah. If you can get, I think we have a list of everybody have the attendance. So if you want, I can send, I can send you a copy of the presentation. It has a link to all the stuff that I talk about, so you can do more homework about it. But yeah, guys, go out there, stop thinking like a consumer, think like an investor, and do some house hacking.
Here we go. Have a great week. Talk to y'all soon. Thank you, Hui.
All right. Bye, Amanda. Bye, everybody.